Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
I'll get the guns, the drugs from my generation. I'll take the fall, the state, and across the nation. And it's a sin, the guns, the fake, the fraud, the messing with me. Come on, let's get it on.
Come on in, sit on down, put in your headphones, turn up the volume. Let's get ready to relax and talk some wrestling, shall we? My name is Brandi, also known as Ryan Taylor Girl. I also respond to Alaska because most people have never met somebody else from Alaska. So any of those are acceptable. I essentially don't like it if you call me ma'am. I don't know. I guess I don't feel old enough to be called ma'am. But welcome to the Hold 1005 podcast, and of course my lovely co-host.
It is Robbie here, aka the Reaper 89 from Tumblr. You can find me there. I'm a Capricorn. I love long walks on the beach, and much like my co-host, I'm recovering from a busy weekend of wrestling.
Now, neither of us drank, but this is basically what we ascribe as to a hangover, because there was a lot of good wrestling, and I imagine this is what it's like to feel hungover. I've never been hungover.
No, I could imagine that's how it feels, and it's the withdrawal that we're both going through is kind of tough, but there's always more wrestling to come.
There's always more wrestling to come. There's things like the WWE Network. If you sign up as a new subscriber, you get, guess what? A free month. I'm still waiting for my free month. I've only been paying you $10 a month for the last, year and a half at this point.
I think at this point you're better off waiting for, the Spirit of Ultimate Warrior to finally cast itself out of the Intercontinental title.
Good point. There's also New Japan World, which, even though the site is in Japanese only right now, they are set up to accept international payment. Your bank may charge you a foreign conversion fee. I bank through Wells Fargo, and they charge me 25 cents for a foreign conversion, but it still comes up to less than the $9.99 for the network, even though it's 999 yen. So there's always wrestling to be found.
Yes, and given the fact that there are 2 Destruction shows coming up next month for New Japan Pro Wrestling, maybe you want to get on that. It's going to be interesting.
It is. They have 2 shows that are going to be in the later part. I believe it's like the 22nd and 23rd for that. Because they got to let the guys rest because they've just been on this nearly 3-week marathon with the G1. So they need to let everybody have time to relax, take some other bookings, because most of the time you don't have time to take other bookings because they have shows. It was like sometimes every other day, every 2 or 3 days. There really wasn't any time to work anywhere else. So they need their rest.
They do. But that's in the distant future, those Destruction shows. Let's talk about this past weekend, shall we?
We will, but before we get into the wrestling, we'll get our little game out of the way. Vicky, our friend, our favorite fan, I think one of the 3 people that listen consistently. Thank you, Vicky. Hi, how are you? Is 12-0 now in our little game of Name the Move off of Jericho's list of 1,004 holds. Last week was number 182, which was a hammerlock. And this week I picked the number 747. Because as a child, I was fascinated with airplanes, and every time I'd see an airplane, I'd go 747, 47, 47, 47 until I couldn't hear it anymore. And I'm getting ready to go on a trip, so I'm thinking about planes.
Yes, so that's our number, and would you like to know what the answer to that number is?
You have to tell us, or listen next week.
Yeah, I don't even know, so give it a shot, guys.
I only know because I look it up. But find us on Tumblr, tell us. Find us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook now at Hold 1005 on Facebook, Hold 1005 Podcast. Let us know if Vicky gets to 20-0, which I think at this point most of you want her to get to 20-0 so you can see the video proof of what it's like when I try and play a video game. But I'll have to play Arkham Asylum for 30 minutes, stream it, put the video up for your pleasure, enjoyment, so you can point and laugh at me because I literally know nothing.
You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it if it comes to that.
I'm thinking at this point it will, but anyway, we'll go ahead, we'll move on because there was a lot going on. This was an action-packed 3-day set.
Hmm.
We had NXT TakeOver Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, which was the first show for WWE this weekend on Saturday. Also in New York City at the MCU Park
Hmm.
was ROH's Field of Honor. So those both took place on Saturday. And then Sunday, of course, was SummerSlam. And then again on Monday at the Barclays Center was Raw. So we'll go ahead, we'll start with NXT Brooklyn, which is the first time they had a major NXT show outside of Full Sail, and I say they did a bang-up job. They sold out in less than 30 seconds.
They did, and it showed when the show opened up and you saw that massive crowd at the Barclays. My big concern is, will this sort of take away from the intimacy that NXT has been known for? I hope it doesn't. I hope that there is more of an emphasis on Full Sail and these sort of indie venues, if to for lack of better terms.
This is true, and I think they were testing the waters just like they did with San Jose in bringing NXT out of the smaller venues to put it in someplace big once, twice, 3 times a year or so to try and build NXT's appeal across the mainstream.
Hmm.
And I think that was definitely good. If you sell out a 12,000, 15,000 seat arena in less than 30 seconds, that's pretty damn good.
I would think so, and that crowd of Brooklyn was given a show.
They were. And the crowd in Brooklyn is one of the stars of all of these shows because a New York crowd is very opinionated
Hmm.
and they have their own personality and flavor. And when they're not in something or they don't like something, just as when they do like something, they will let you know.
They do. Speaking as a New Yorker myself, I can attest to this, and I've been hearing a lot of people talking smack about the Brooklyn crowds, and to that I'd say, would you rather a raucous crowd at a show that really cares about the product, or a crowd that kind of sits on its hands and just waits for stuff to unfold? You know what I mean?
Right? I'd rather have a raucous crowd, but that's just me because I know when to not pay attention to them. When the show opened, we opened with a bang. We opened
Hmm.
with Tyler Breeze coming out with his weirdo runway entrance, Dealy Bop. He looked about a little bit like King Tut or, um, some sort of Egyptian pharaoh melded with his usual gear.
He did, but once again, I think it goes back to him having all those seasonal residences,
That's true. His seasonal residence at this time was Cairo, Egypt.
and it looked Egyptian, his outfit.
He did. I wonder if he can walk like an Egyptian.
He doesn't come across as a dancer to me. But you know who does come across as a dancer? Oh, you know who does come across as a dancer, though?
Who?
Jushin Liger.
Jushin Thunder Liger, for a man in his 50s, probably closer to his 60s at this point, who was Tyler Breeze's opponent, his first ever time in a WWE ring. Um, he's still pretty spry. He still
He
knows how
is.
to have fun.
He is. The guy's 50. He's had brain surgery in 96, and yet look at the guy. He's going out there. He's having the time of his life. I say kudos to him.
He is, and at different points he stole Tyler's selfie stick and was taking selfies.
Hmm.
Um, he mocked Tyler because at the beginning of the match, Tyler mocked Jushin Thunder Liger by laying up in the corner like he does. And of course, once Tyler got down and got tangled up with Jushin Liger again, Liger gets the upper hand and
Hmm.
Liger does the thing in the corner. So it was fun.
It was, and it plays to his style right now. He's no longer the guy who can pull off shooting star presses from any position or anything like that. He's more of a mat wrestler. He's a smarter wrestler, a thinking man's wrestler.
Exactly. The whole point as you go on in your career is not to work harder
Hmm.
necessarily, but work smarter, which means he still does the high flying moves. He did the dive senton like splash off of the apron. So he still has the high flying style. He just knows when to and when not to use it.
He did, and I will say this: Liger and Breeze worked extremely well together, and they opened up the show with a heavy dose of excitement.
That they did, and they really set the standard, the bar for the night, and that was obviously a great way to start the show. We're not going to give away spoilers except for the championship matches, I think, because you need to watch it.
Yes, you do.
Speaking of championship matches, the next match was the tag team championship match, which saw Blake and Murphy with Alexa Bliss, who were sporting like Iron Man type gear, which was pretty cool. Once Vicky pointed it out to me because it totally went over my head. Defending their titles against the Vaudevillains, Aiden English, Simon Gotch, and they of course had to come up with a way to neutralize or have an answer to Alexa Bliss, who made herself very, very involved in their first match against Blake and Murphy for the titles. And who did they get? Well, you may have gotten a hint if you looked at their attire. They were wearing blue.
They got
of course,
blue pants.
Blue pants made her return. She even had blue in her hair, so she didn't just have blue pants. And she was wearing a Vaudevillains t-shirt, which is available on WWEshop.com.
I love the reaction she got. I'm very happy Brooklyn treated her like a queen, basically.
Exactly. We all love blue pants. Most WWE divas don't get why we love blue pants, but we love blue pants.
Yeah, Bluey has become
also known as Leva Bates. So
AKA Bluey, AKA the source of my affection in wrestling at the moment.
Does Becky have competition?
Yeah. Book it. Blue Pants versus Becky Lynch right now.
FYI, babe, it's happened already.
Book it again.
But anyway, long story short, blue pants proved to be the key to keeping Alexa Bliss out of the Vaudevillains' hair, and you have new NXT Tag Team Champions in the Vaudevillains.
Yes, admittedly, I was hoping that they would have dropped the titles to Enzo and Big Cass. Could still happen. At the same time, I've become a huge Vaudevillains fan. I love the characters. I love their in-ring style. And I just love their demeanor in general. They're very endearing characters.
They are very endearing, and it was very fun to see them celebrate at the end. Next up, we had the official debut of Apollo Crews, formerly known as Uhan Nation, taking on the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger.
Yes. By the way, happy belated birthday to Apollo Crews. He turned 28 on that night.
That's right. He debuted on his birthday, which was really cool. And he came out and he was so blown away by the reaction. He had his new t-shirt that just came out on. He got to see all of his accoutrements with the lights and the music and the video package, and he just couldn't believe it. He pointed to the logo that was being shown on the floor in lights, and he goes, "That's mine." It was so cute.
It was very endearing.
And speaking of not endearing, I really don't get Ty Dillinger's character as the Perfect 10. I don't. I'm sorry. That cartwheel sucked.
He's the Perfect 10.
He gave that cartwheel a 10. That cartwheel sucked.
He's 10. 10.
And he has this really, really weird, stupid 90s-esque haircut where the 10 is shaved into his head.
You know,
only Enzo can get away with that.
You know, when Enzo does it, it's stylish. When Ty does it, it's geeky. I don't know.
It's geeky. The side piece was fine. The zigzag on the side was fine, but the 10 in the back, that's just weird.
Okay, I think we'll agree to disagree as far as style is concerned.
Definitely. And this is how we get along as a couple. We agree to disagree. We haven't had a fight yet. So
yeah. We're not relationship experts. We're not gonna do anonymous letters, so
no.
Don't
this
send them.
is actually my first relationship ever, so anyway, moving on. This is not Dear Abby, this is Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, speaking of two wrestlers who have no love for each other, Samoa
Uh,
Joe and Baron Corbin.
that's right. They have Baron has been displaying more of a healer side. He says he doesn't care what the fans say. The girls still scream like mad for the Wolfman. And he says that he doesn't think he should respect anybody, especially somebody who's not been in the WWE yet, especially someone like Samoa Joe. And he was like, they called, I just had to, Baron Corbin was like, I just had to make a phone call and I got a job. And
Hmm.
Samoa Joe was like, they called me.
Yeah, see, that's the cool thing about Samoa Joe. He, his demeanor kind of veers off into the healer side, but at the same time, he's gained a lot of goodwill over the years due to his efforts. That at this point, unless Joe does something despicable, he's not going to be booed.
And even then, I think he wouldn't be booed because even as a heel, Samoa Joe really is always usually a fan, at least a fan favorite for at least half the crowd. And I've followed most of Samoa Joe's career since he debuted in TNA, so
Yeah, so basically, the guy has built up a lot of goodwill. He's at that, I guess, Jericho-esque stage where he's not going to get jeered by a large majority.
that's right. And so we had the battle of the big, tough submission brute kind of guys. And you have to watch this one because this was a good one. And we're not going to tell you who wins because you have to watch.
Needless to say, it's
Uh,
it's a big power match. So if you like power wrestling, this one's good for you.
exactly. And Samoa Joe throws in his kicks and his submission style, so he does mix it up a little bit. Next, we
That he
had the
does.
NXT Women's Championship match, which most people are saying is the match of the night. And I'd have to agree. Sorry to Finn and Owens, who we'll be talking about soon. But we had Sasha Banks defending her title against Bayley. Both women were given very nice entrances. Bayley's attire was a mixture of Randy Macho Man Savage with the tassels, the little tassel jacket she wears, and then she had the tassels on her legs, like Savage used to do. And she also wore polka dot armbands and a polka dot bow for Dusty Rhodes. Of course, it was very close to everybody's heart. And Sasha came out with this super baller entrance. She came out in a Cadillac Escalade truck, and she had security, and they lifted her up onto the apron like a
Hmm.
queen.
Those entrances were a lot of fun. Banks in particular, but I think we have to discuss the match itself because keep in mind this was an NXT Women's Title match, and it also went over. It went a little over 18 minutes, and they made the most of that time.
They did, and I love that on NXT they actually give the women a lot of time and they make them matter. If you're going to look at this card just as a card, this is your semi-main. This is
Hmm.
your main event but not main event match. So this is a very high
Yes,
important spot that's very coveted in wrestling.
yes, they
And the
earned it.
fact that they're willing to give that to them and give them with entrances over 20 minutes in a 2-hour program with
Hmm.
very few commercials is a sign of respect and a sign of faith that I think that the main roster needs to pay more attention to.
I'd have to agree. I'd have to agree. Um, what I really liked is just the story it told, and it told the story of Bayley scratching and clawing to get to that point where she could win the women's title. She had her arm torn apart, she had her cast ripped off, her hands stomped on, crushed against the steel steps. All these despicable things that you'd expect from Sasha Banks. And you wanted so badly for Bayley to win. You wanted to see her rise to the occasion like Rocky and finally be the one standing tall.
Yes, because of course this is not Bayley's first trip at the NXT Women's Championship. She has tried before and was not successful. So
Hmm.
to see her try again and to finally get to the top of the mountain to beat Sasha Banks
Hmm.
was an incredible moment of elation. Um, and at the end to have the rest of the four horsewomen come out there with them and celebrate the four horsewomen, of course being Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Sasha, and Bayley.
It was a curtain call moment, but one that we were allowed to relish in and enjoy.
Exactly. It was a nice moment to enjoy because with Sasha now no longer being the NXT Women's Champion, that means that she will be on their main roster full time, aside for coming down for special occasions like this. So Bayley was kind of bittersweet talking about it because she said she wanted them to stay forever. But
Yes,
we know that Bayley will see them again really soon when she gets up there.
yes. Until then, Bailey, hold it down at NXT. You have faith in you.
She will. And we look forward to her title reigns.
It's going to be awesome.
And the last match of the night was for the NXT Championship, defended in a ladder match, which is, I believe, only NXT's second ladder match.
I believe so. The first one was Neville versus Bo at the NXT Arrival.
Mm-hmm. But we had Finn Balor defending the title against Kevin Owens in the rematch, seeking to prove that what happened in Tokyo was not just a fluke. And while this was a very incredible match, they definitely did not touch the emotion level that the girls touched, I believe.
Yeah, but that was a
And
really high level to reach. Big shoes to fill. Balor and Owens are professionals. They know how to make the most of a situation. But I think we were just so focused on this match, so focused on the story of the NXT Women's Title match that Balor and Owens probably should have took that place.
they probably should have. But they did do very well. I think Finn did a very good showing of proving that he is indeed worthy of carrying the ball and being the man in NXT as they seek to build the younger guys up to being who will eventually move up onto the main roster with him. Finn Balor did retain, so this is of course Kevin Owens' swan song from NXT, and he will go back to the main roster full time. Although I think on occasion, like we see with Cesaro and Neville, who had rode in with Finn in a very nice car to visit and cheer on their friends and fellow wrestlers. So I think you might see them still as they visit for the quarterly NXT takeovers. But that was definitely an incredible show. Definitely one worth watching. And even if you don't have the money to pay for the network, like if you're not working or you don't have that much money or anything extra to spare, just sign up for the free month and binge watch as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, trust me, make the most of that time. You'll be happy you did.
Definitely. And we'll go ahead and slip in the little ROH, which was ROH going head to head with NXT. They did pull in about 2,200 people, which was nice, which is good. I thought that was very respectable. For ROH, you had Adam Cole taking on Christopher Daniels. War Machine, the tag team of Hanson and Raymond Rowe, taking on the Killer Elite Squad, which was the team visiting from Japan. Davey Boy Smith Jr., also known as Harry Smith or D.H. Smith, from WWE, and Lance Archer, also known as Lance Hoyt in TNA, Vance Archer in WWE, in a 9-person gauntlet match to see who would get an ROH World Television title shot against Jay Lethal. You had, I don't know how to say his first name.
Just call him Watanabe.
Watanabe works. Taking on Dalton Castle, Adam Page, Frankie Kazarian, Silas Young, Bushwhacker Luke, Moose, Donovan Jack, and Cedric Alexander. And Watanabe actually pulled this one out, and he gets to challenge for the ROH TV title. In 8-man tag team action, you had Matt Sydal and ACH teaming up with the Young Bucks to take on the Kingdom, Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, with Roppongi Vice, Beretta, and Rocky Romero. You had Hiroki Goto taking on Michael Elgin, which was a rematch from G1, which was a nice, pleasant surprise. You had the Briscoes taking on the Time Splitters, although the most notable thing to come out of that match was, like, Alex Shelley got his front 2 teeth knocked out again.
Yeah, I saw that live, and I thought it was kind of weird at first because he went over to the commentators, and I was like, wait, what's going on? Little did I know that's what happened.
Yep. But ROH is actually, since that happened, it was a freak accident, but it happened in their ring. They're going to actually help him and take care of the expense to get his teeth fixed, which I thought was a really classy move. It wasn't their fault. It was a total, it happens. It was a total freak accident, and they're going to help him because obviously it's very expensive. And of course, wrestlers don't have health insurance. So. Next in your semi-main event status was Kazuchika Okada taking on Mr. ROH, Roderick Strong. And then in the main event, you had Jay Lethal, who is both your world champion and your TV champion, managed by Truth Martini, teaming up with Shinsuke Nakamura, taking on Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. And we'll talk more about his fanboy experience. Right now, we're going to send you to a break, but go get a snack, get a drink, come back. We'll be right back here on the Hold 1005 podcast.
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Found a nice lovely treat or a nice bottle of water or a soda, whatever your pleasure may be. As we get back into it, we'll go ahead. Robbie attended the ROH Field of Honor show that we talked about before the break, and he actually got to meet our top two favorite Japanese wrestlers, his number one being Shinsuke Nakamura, my number one being Kazuchika Okada. So.
Yes, and to say that it was an experience would be an understatement. My little brother and I went to the show together. It was our first Ring of Honor show, either of ours. And we entered the arena, the park, and we saw a bunch of autograph tables where some of the wrestlers were. Kushida, Hiroki Goto, the Young Bucks, a lot of different people. I zeroed in on the table where Nakamura and Okada were. And meeting Nakamura, I think the best term I could describe was being starstruck. And normally I don't do this, considering my age. I'm closer to my 30s than I am my 20s at this point. Nonetheless, he's a guy with a presence. And he was really cool, very quiet, which you wouldn't expect from Nakamura. He took my picture. Very, very cool. Then I went to Okada, mainly because, I did it for you. Did it for myself as well, but mostly for you. I got a couple things from him. I got the autograph 8x10, which I got from Nakamura as well, a picture, and I also got these autographed Okada dollars. For those who don't know, Okada, when he comes out, does the Rainmaker pose, his arms outstretched, and dollar bills fly from the ceiling, from the rafters.
And they're Okada dollars. They're Okada $10 million bills.
They are. But it's funny though, and I think I told you this story. While he was autographing them, you have to keep in mind this is an outdoor stadium. So I think a breeze came in, and one of the bills got caught up in the breeze and fell to the floor. And here's Okada with his big-ass IWGP heavyweight title on his shoulder, scrambling to get it. To say that it was a humorous visual would be an understatement, but it's one of those things that I remember, and it enhances my opinion of the guy. It was a really cool experience overall.
Very cool, and of course he passed on my undying love and affection for me since I wasn't there to do it in person.
And let me tell you something. My little brother, he's not an ROH fan. He hasn't really watched a whole lot of it. One guy caught his attention more than anyone else. Dalton Castle.
Dalton Castle and his boys.
Yes. Let me tell you, Brooklyn loves themselves some Dalton Castle. He was, aside from Nakamura and Okada and the Young Bucks, Castle was the most over person in that arena. People lost their minds when he beat Adam Page in that gauntlet. They lost their minds when he picked up the win against Kazarian. When Silas Young came in and pinned him, nuclear heat. Absolutely nuclear heat. It was the coolest moment that I got as an ROH fan. And this whole event was just tremendous from top to bottom. I had a lot of fun. It was my first ROH show. It was my first time seeing Okada and Nakamura live. And we talked about the Briscoes and Time Splitters match where Shelley broke his teeth. After that happened, he went on Twitter and he said plainly that his family wants him to finish wrestling. They do not want him to work in wrestling anymore, which I can understand from a certain standpoint because, for those who don't know, he had to pull out of the Best of Super Juniors tournament like midway in because of ligament tears and a foot fracture. The man has been very unlucky when it comes to his injuries. And it sucks because he's very good. He's a great wrestler.
He is, but he also said that on Twitter, just because his family doesn't want him to wrestle anymore does not mean that's it. That's something he'll talk about later on, and that will be a decision that's his. And so, yeah, we just wish him a speedy recovery. I know all too well about teeth issues. It's not fun.
Hmm.
But we'll go back to the wrestling weekend. Sunday, we had SummerSlam, also in the Barclays Center, which sold out in about 2 hours, which is still not bad, but not 30 seconds.
No, but it's SummerSlam, so of course it was going to sell out.
Mm. We opened the show with Sheamus versus Randy Orton, part
Hmm.
800,736 or
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
yeah. This match opened the show, and it was at this time that I, I couldn't help but feel as though I had developed a sense of constipation. Would you like to know why? Because I couldn't give a shit about this match. It,
I couldn't
I,
be bothered.
I could. I've seen this happen many times before. I'm sure Orton loves working with Sheamus. I think he said it before on interviews. It's just not interesting. It's not interesting.
Unless
It's
you
not.
give it as a good story, it's not interesting.
No, and Orton's been gone for most of this feud, if you can call it that. So
Uh-uh.
at that point, what's there to be excited about?
There wasn't anything to be excited about, except for um, when Sheamus got up on the announce table to talk back to the crowd because they were saying he looks stupid with the mohawk and the braids in his beard. Yeah, he does look stupid. But
Yeah,
Orton dropped him back on a back bump onto the table, and that was actually the highlight of the match.
yeah. Credit to Sheamus. He tried to bring some heat into this.
He did try. Unfortunately, it just didn't work. Moving on to something that was very much more fun, we had the Fatal Four Way for the Tag Team Championships. We had the Primetime Players defending against the New Day, who were represented by Big E and Kofi Kingston, versus the Lucha Dragons and versus Los Matadores. New
I
Day decided they were going to teach the crowd about hip hop,
and
and it
it
was
resulted
hilarious.
in another great New Day segment. I believe they at one point called them booty.
hmm And of course, they're all dancing, and Big E dancing is just entertaining as all hell. So
Like just the moment they won the titles, Kofi Kingston's like celebrating on the floor, having a mini seizure, which I
having a
lost
mini
it.
seizure and yet bouncing up off the mat at the same time.
It was priceless. It was a priceless reaction to winning the titles. So they are our new two-time tag team champs.
Yes, and they also wore very snazzy white and gold attire, and we'll see a trend
Yeah.
because Bayley wore a white and gold ensemble when she won the NXT Women's Championship, and so the New Day wearing white and gold, winning the
Yeah.
tag team championships.
It's like everyone has wanted to become the White Ranger, and no, this totally did not become a meme.
It
Totally,
totally did.
totally not did not become a meme. Thank you, internet.
Next, we had the storyline that will never end.
Oh
Dolph
wow,
Ziggler with Lana versus Rusev with Summer Rae.
yeah, pretty sure my constipation developed once more as this match unfolded.
I think I went for a bathroom break.
Oh, you're lucky. I couldn't. You know,
I was lucky because you were watching and I knew you'd tell me when it was over.
I it's masochistic at this point. Even
The
worse is the
best part
ending.
about it was Lana's outfit. She looked like Posh Spice from the 90s if she wore an all denim ensemble with super cool sneaker high heels and looking like Lana does. She looked very lovely.
That's one way to describe it. I would describe it as she looked like she was ready to go to the max with Zach Morris.
Kelly Kapowski style.
Yeah, Lana Kapowski.
And Summer Rae is wearing a strange mashup of Lana's old business suits and her old Fandango attire because it was a red business suit, but it was sparkly.
Which, she can make it work. She could wear a white sheet and make it look fashionable.
This is true. But it ended in a double count out. Unfortunately, this is not the last we'll see of that. Next, we had what was dubbed the Battle in Brooklyn. And it was Stephen Amell of Arrow teaming up with Neville to take on Stardust and King Barrett. Now, I think they need to make Stardust like a real comic book supervillain because he's just so damn good at it now.
He is like he's taken that character, made it his own, and he's one of the few
Because,
people who can really commit to it.
well, I want to note the difference because before his father passed away,
Hmm.
he had the character down very well. But once he came back after his father's death, one of the last things Dusty told him was, "Kid, finish what you started." So he came back and he really turned this up a notch. Like, he's crazy.
He is. He's become one of my top five favorite people to hear speak in WWE.
So I think they need to make him a supervillain, hopefully with Arrow, because he refused to call Stephen Amell Stephen Amell. He was convinced that he was Oliver, the Green Arrow.
Hmm.
So it was hilarious. And Stephen Amell actually did a very nice showing. He took bumps, he was throwing, he was given as good as he got, and he was hanging with it a lot better than people who are on the main roster sometimes.
Yeah, I was surprised by how well he was selling. He could have just been like, he could have just shrugged off all the kicks and double axe handles and all that. But no,
I think
he,
it helps because he is a wrestling fan and he's been a wrestling fan and he's been trained to do stunt work um, with the show with Arrow
yeah,
being superhero. And I think he just has such a reverence for it that he just really threw himself into it wholeheartedly.
he did, and
And
he's got an impressive vertical leap.
he does. He jumps. He's like a springbok or a kangaroo or something. Or a tiger. Just swing.
Yeah, he looks like he moves like Tigger. Just without all the in, perpetual hopping.
That's what I do. But Stephen Amell, Neville, came out on top, and Stephen Amell actually put pictures up on social media of his bruises. So he definitely took took his
No,
licks.
it ain't fake, kids.
Mm-mm. Next was my other bathroom break of the night. It was Ryback defending the Intercontinental title against The Big Show and The Miz.
Mhm. Yeah, at this point, I think I needed to take an apple or something to get rid of this constipation, because again, no shit was
No
given.
shit. Zero shits were given for this match.
No, but nonetheless, Ryback defeated Big Show and Miz to retain the title. I've been hearing that they're going to continue this feud without the
It's
Miz.
Aw, he was the best part.
D- yeah, he's been the best part of a lot of things recently.
Next, anyway, we had Dean Ambrose teaming up with Roman Reigns to take on the Wyatt family, the team of Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, in a match that I tried. And with Wyatts, there's always some kind of cool story. And when they got Dean in there, they kind of told their own little story. But as soon as Roman would get in that match, I would just be like,
You sort of tuned out.
it kind of lost the magic, which sucks because they actually spent the first part of the match with Ambrose really telling this really hot story in the ring, and then it's just like,
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like Reigns has a lot of room to grow. I think him being with Ambrose for the time being will help in the long run.
I think it will hurt him in the long run because as soon as you put Ambrose into the equation, that's where your focus is going to go. Ambrose is the
Yeah,
star.
he
So
is. I have to feel like in the long run he'll have the most success, Ambrose.
yes. I know WWE is desperate to push Roman Reigns as the face, as the next guy. I just don't think he's there yet. And I want so badly to support him and like him, but I'm just like, wah, wah,
At the very
wah.
least, he has more personality when he's with Ambrose. The beer drinking member
Exactly.
of the Brotherhood.
Yes. Anyway, Reigns and Ambrose were successful in defeating the Wyatt family. However, it looks like this will continue as we will get to with Raw the next night. We had the champion versus champion match next. We had Seth Rollins defending his world heavyweight title against John Cena and his U.S. title. And I was going to probably end up being committed to a mental institution if John Cena had won and tied Ric Flair's record.
Oh, I think I
for
would have
World
been right there
Championship.
with you. Would have been right there with you.
But we have to thank our lucky stars. First of all, Seth put on an amazing performance. He pulled out everything. He pulled everything out of the book.
Yeah, this was the Seth Rollins match.
Definitely.
The Seth
And
Rollins show.
it was the Seth Rollins show, and he was wearing white and gold. Remember what I said earlier
Yeah.
about champions and white and gold?
Well, to be fair, he does kind of look like Tommy the most, so maybe he could pass for a White Ranger.
And his belt buckle really looked like it.
He did.
And Seth Rollins, with the help of Jon Stewart coming in to save Ric Flair's streak, came in, took John Cena out with a chair,
Yeah.
and Seth was able to become the first ever double in terms of being the first ever world heavyweight title and the U.S. title.
Yes, so congratulations to Seth Rollins. Hopefully that eventual bronze statue doesn't go missing. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
We'll have to see it when we finally get it made here the next night. Next, we have the Divas Triple Threat match, which I admit I was worried about, but they did throw an interesting twist in that if one member of the team got pinned, that team was eliminated. So it wasn't going to be as long and drawn out as I thought it was going to be.
One could argue it was done for the sake of time, but they made the most of this opportunity.
This is true. I don't think they needed that much more time. I think they put on a good story with what they had. You had Team PCB, Paige, Charlotte, Becky Lynch taking on Team Bella, Nikki, Brie, and Alicia Fox taking on Team Bad, Best at Dominating, Beautiful and Dangerous, Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha Banks. Team Bad was eliminated first. I thought that was a little bit meh. I thought they could have flipped the eliminations a little bit and had Team Bella go out first and then let the other guys go at it, but
at the same time, I think Sasha Banks needed a bit of a break after her, being dropped on her head with a reverse
she
Hurricane
kind of got dropped. They all did the suicide dive spots, and when Sasha did hers, they didn't catch her. She was too close to the apron and kind of landed on her head.
Yeah,
So
she's a tough bitch, man.
she is. She's the boss, legit. And Team Paige, Charlotte, Becky, PCB were TCB taking care of business and came out on top. Next was your semi-main, which is my match of the night for sure. Kevin Owens versus Cesaro.
Yes.
And it was very good, very nice.
What gets me is that I don't even think this is like their highest level. I think they can go many notches above what they did here, which is still really good.
I mean, still putting on a great performance like they did. No, that's not. The dial doesn't go all the way. That's not all the way to 11. That's like, I would say maybe like a 7.
And unlike some of the other matches on the card, this actually had a very good ending with Owens defeating Cesaro.
Exactly. And I would love to see this continue simply because I like seeing these guys work with each other.
Yeah, and given the fact that Owens lost his NXT title match, he needed this win.
He did. He did need this win. Lastly, going on last, I'm so happy this match got to go on last because I don't think it would have been right to put the double title match at the end of this. But you had The Undertaker taking on Brock Lesnar in
And
a
it was
revenge
a
match.
fight.
It wasn't really a match. It was more of a fight. And they hit each other with everything. All the finishes. Taking the referee. Trying to check on the shoulders because the Undertaker was in Brock's Kimura lock, and his shoulders were on the mat, so the referee's checking to make sure, and the Undertaker actually tapped out, and the timekeeper, without signal from the referee, which is not how it goes, rang the bell. And everybody was like, what? What's going on? Because the referee's like, I didn't call for the bell. But when they did the playback after the match, you could see the Undertaker had his arm back, and I think he knew that the referee was over checking the shoulders. and tapped against his own side.
Yeah, I saw that, and it was a bit of a strange ending, kind of a empty ending. And it sucks because this match did have some really good moments, and I think you'll attest to this. During one part of the match, both men are laying on the mat, just laying on the canvas. Brock Lesnar sits up Undertaker style and just starts laughing, kind of like how he did with the Cena match at SummerSlam. Undertaker sits up, turns to look at Lesnar. Lesnar is still laughing, so the Undertaker, in response, starts laughing in return. And
Which
just
was
the
not
visual,
cute or fun like anybody normally laughing. This was scary.
yeah, I was like, if that happened to me, I would legitimately piss myself. It was terrifying.
It was scary. And then after the confusion was sorted out, the match continued. The referee is still tattletaling on the timekeeper, and Undertaker hits the low blow and snaps the Hell's Gate back onto Brock, who refused to tap out. And as he's fading, as he's losing oxygen, flips the Undertaker the little one finger salute.
And then passes out.
And then
Badass moment.
passes out.
Such a cool moment.
So this, of course, can't end this way, but I think they definitely won't face each other at Night of Champions because I think they both need time to rest and recover from that. And plus, Brock has a certain number of dates he'll work, and he won't budge from
Maybe
those.
Survivor Series, maybe Rumble. Who knows?
I would say Survivor Series would be a good bet because that's where The Undertaker was sort of born, if you will, back in
Good point.
1990.
Good point.
So after that, the high wears off, and then you're just like kind of
Raw.
empty. So we go on to Raw. We hope things are going to get better, and they didn't really because it was like a normal episode of Raw. But there were some good points. We had the presumed death of Bo Dallas. Brock Lesnar came out after Paul Heyman did a promo to start the show. And Bo Dallas comes out and is offered as a sacrifice.
He tells Lesnar to believe. He just wanted Lesnar to believe.
And he made Bo leave.
With five German suplexes.
So to say that he's been well acquainted with Suplex City is an understatement.
He got a free trip to Suplex City. I could consider himself lucky.
Mm-hmm. Next, there was a Divas match. I couldn't even tell you who was in the match because I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
But the crowd was just not into it.
Yeah.
The crowd was pissed.
Yeah, and they let him know. There were chants of, we want Sasha, we want blue pants, boring. There was a wave done in the crowd, like a sports wave.
When the crowd does the wave, they're bored as fuck. And a lot of people got mad, but it's not because they weren't working hard, and it's not because the match was bad. The match actually wasn't bad.
No.
It's just there is no believable, legitimate story with this whole thing outside of the superficial.
Yeah.
So we just want a better story for them.
I just knew, as soon as the segment was over, I knew that there were going to be some preachy-ass articles and blog posts talking about the fans and how wrong they were. Lo and behold, I've seen more than a few of them discussing how in the wrong the crowd was, calling them misogynistic. And let me just say this. Most of these writers do not know what the word misogyny means. Do you know what it means? Does anyone know what it means? Ladies and gentlemen, misogyny means the dislike or distrust of women. That's
just
misogyny.
Because they're women.
Yeah, that's misogyny. Okay, you're not okay, and you're gonna tell that the Brooklyn crowd is misogynistic, the same crowd that lost their minds over the Bayley Sasha Banks match, which is considered to be one of the best matches of the year. Look, I get it. You didn't like the crowd reaction, but if you're gonna use a word, any word, make sure you know the meaning of it. Because when you use words like that in these supposedly professional pieces talking about sports, you make yourself look ignorant. You make yourself look like you're not the type of writer that should be writing about wrestling, you probably shouldn't even be writing middle school material. It's unprofessional. It's lame. You should be ashamed of yourselves for even thinking that it was good idea to write this.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I went to a rant.
He did, and we're going to move on. There was a couple of big returns when they went to reveal to Seth his statue for the WWE headquarters. The statue was not under the sheet. Sting was under the sheet. And it was announced after that Sting will be taking on Seth for the WWE World Heavyweight title at Night of Champions. Also returning was the Dudley Boys. That's right, Bubba Ray, Devon, old school camo with a Z and the glasses get the tables.
This I enjoyed more than Xavier was playing trombone while going to the ring. I like this more than the Sting return. I am a big fan of the Dudley Boys. I'm a New Yorker. I have been a fan of tag team wrestling. These guys are easily the most decorated tag team in history. They've won virtually every major tag team title that one could win.
They have won them all.
Except for the NXT Tag Team Championship, which does kind of beg the question of whether or not they'll compete in that Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Maybe. We'll have to see. But the plan is for them to come back on full time, work in the tag division. And we'll have to see what comes on next because we're out of time. So we'll have to see you next week. Talk to us more about tag team wrestling. Talk to us more about what you love, what you think. Give us a call next time. Right here, Late Night Sports Radio, Hold 1005.